Daddy in BioShock, and we're also going to talk about how we might already know the guy talking to Rick in the helicopter. Only with The Walking Dead could the main show end and it becomes more exciting. So let's take a deep dive into Rick and Michonne's return. But before we do, I want to thank Manta Sleep once again for sponsoring this video. Manta Sleep are dedicated to making sure you get better sleep. Watching The Walking Dead, you kind of need that. After long editing sessions, I've suffered with bad sleep schedules, and it can really affect your life. I've used them a lot lately for podcasts I listen to, and it really helped. Manta have a whole array of masks for you to choose from. The Silk Mask, the Pro, Slim, Max, Weighted, Cool and Steam masks. There's no better time to get one of these masks, because I've got a discount code for you. Use code DRAKE at checkout to get 10% off, and they're already such a good price, so why not? Make sure you're getting better sleep. Which basically means receiver of goods, not owner of goods, receiver. So he had some kind of working job at the CRM. But what makes all of this dialogue so much more interesting is what we see in the behind the scenes video of Andrew Lincoln filming it, where Greg Nicotero is reading a slightly different script, where we get a bit more context and a slightly different angle.
Come on, Rick, no way out. You're the only one who wants out anyway.
What Greg is reading is a bit more human and realistic than what the guy actually said in the finale.
Consignee grounds, you've been located and are instructed to surrender. Remain in place with your hands up. Come on, Rick. It's like he told you. There's no escape for the living.
But the original dialogue, you were the only one that wanted to leave anyway. So it's just Rick that wants to leave at this particular place at the CRM that he was taken to, or at least ended up to want to run away. Which is really good to hear, because this confirms he's definitely not been brainwashed. Which was a small possibility, I've never said that myself, but something that I think is likely on the topic of brainwashing is that we know who this is in the helicopter talking to Rick. First of all, it sounds almost exactly like Victor Strand from Fear the Walking Dead.
You've been located and are instructed to surrender. There's no escape for the living.
That's insanely similar to Strand. I'm pretty sure that is him. But yeah, it could just be some random guy that sounds like him. So let's ask the more important question, because we already know that's him or someone that's meant to sound like him. Can this be him? Well, this scene is set before the 6-year time jump after Rick left, because in Michonne's final episode on the main show, after those 6 years, Michonne found this phone and Rick's boots. Fear is still around the time Rick was actually taken. So yeah, there's about a year or two behind this scene we saw with Rick, and where Fear the Walking Dead is right now, and is about to be in season 8. So the timeline definitely allows it. But I actually said this back when Strand was first trying to be this new villain, back when he was this general. If he didn't die at the end of season 7, after all that horrible stuff he did, then he's going down a very similar road to what Jadis did, and he would make a really good CRM general. So this could actually be Strand talking to Rick, which is so exciting in itself, because they've clearly already spoken. You have to ask what all of that was for at the end of season 7. He's going to be somewhat of an outcast now in Fear, really similar to Jadis. But we heard from Jadis a few times she said Rick was a B, so that he didn't end up in a lab. The lab is where the A's go, so he was a B, he was treated and kept alive. The CRM still do not know about Rick's communities, because if they did, they would be flattened by now. Of course, the big thing with the CRM that I love about it is that all the places that are connected under the Alliance, they basically live like how they did before the apocalypse. And under the surface of all of that, under that mask, they actually get up to really sinister, really dark and bad stuff. Which is why we know Rick wouldn't have had any of it, he would have ran away the first thing. Unlike Jadis, who felt she had nothing to lose. When she was at those communities in season 9, the only thing for her to live for, and that was close to her, was Gabriel, and that's why we see she's named herself Jadis Stokes. Like I've said before, a massive connection that shows she still feels for, even just sentimentally for, Gabriel, which is why I think he's destined to reunite with her one day, possibly even being the one to kill Jadis, but that is obviously a long, long way away. Bottom line is, Rick is a good guy character. So at first he must have arrived at the CRM, it all seemed amazing, but he found out after they trade people, they kill people, whole cities, the CRM are dark, and that place that Rick is at, which we can assume now, like I said from when we first saw that animated teaser, and now confirmed in Rick's return scene, is Philadelphia.
The Delaware River with Philadelphia destroyed in the background.
So what is Michonne doing? I think there's a chance that this herd is full of that slightly more capable Walker variant. That's why she's wearing this quite weird looking mask or helmet. She looks like a bowling pin. She can't be grabbed. You can see it's more round shape in the behind the scenes video too. It's odd looking, but when you're heading into a big herd, it's probably really effective. She's made it so she can't be grabbed. We did see this scene in episode 24 where the variants were, although not the most powerful one we saw in France, were still an issue because they could do more. They smashed windows, they climbed, opened doors, and yanked Luke to the floor pretty hard. She can't be grabbed. I think the reason this big herd is here is because the CRM have wanted it to be. We already know that's what the CRM do. They blow up the walls of places and have a herd ravage the place. We can assume she's going into it because that's where she thinks Rick is, and where Rick is has to be the darkest place. Why would they not have a big zombie herd as a massive wall of defense so no one can get through? They do have helicopters after all, it's their signature thing. You're not getting through there without a plan, you'd avoid it. She thinks Rick's there, she sees Rick, so she goes through it. Just to add to the list of reasons why Rick has been gone for so long, this is one of them. She's wearing leather armor. Not completely out of the ordinary for the type of group or army she found at the end of her final episode. Also, don't forget, Morgan being in that group absolutely is not off the table. In fact, after the main show ending, it's never been more likely than right now. Not to repeat myself, but the shows are just like vehicles to get the characters to where they need to be. It's not a big deal that the main show has ended in that regard, which, like I've said, is a lot more exciting. There's now a renewed season of Negan and Maggie's show, Dead City. It's all been filmed, now there's a second series being developed. Daryl's filming right now in France, and in January the Rick and Michonne series will start to film. I think there's going to be numerous seasons. I've got a video coming out for Dead City soon, but basically what they've said about that is it's set years after the finale, which is a bit of a worry. They keep going further and further away from where Rick was taken, and it gets to the point like, how long has he been gone now? The further out the timeline they go, they've got to make Rick's excuse for being gone so long so much more impressive and so much more drastic. And it's said in Dead City Maggie will want Negan's help. It's good that it's a slight reset, that they've apologized already, and years later they now need each other's help. There's a chance that they don't even reveal straight away that the CRM are involved in whatever Maggie needs help with. That's what I think Padre is doing right now in Fear, that thing that Madison and Morgan are getting involved with. But I think it absolutely is still the or plain. I don't believe these things were just randomly forgotten about by the writers. They're loose ends that will be tied. Remember, the end of the main show isn't that big of a deal to the story as a whole now. It was basically the end of a format, but not the end of a lot of the story actually. At the end of Breaking Bad, for example, when that ended, you would have been like, oh no, Skinny Pete, is that the last time we saw him? Yeah, but even he was seen in the movie. The Walking Dead has such a unique spin-off plan to where it really does just keep going. But what do you think? What do you think this is all about? What is this herd? Why has Rick really not returned after all these years? And when do you think we're next going to see the CRM in the Walking Dead universe? Press the like button on the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.